Okay, welcome back to the table where we do tarot. This is like my third try in starting this video because my computer was telling me change my settings, my privacy settings to access my microphone. And it's like, uh, I just did a video, so I know that the microphone works and I know that everything is okay. But anyway, I was starting out a video. It was supposed to be a tarot video, but then because my mind wanted to keep going off track, I stopped considering it a tarot reading, and I moved on with whatever the purpose was that I was talking about. So it's the video is called Back to the Future for gratitude. And then, oh dear, because I had taken pictures of deer that were in my backyard yesterday, and I wanted to like show pictures of that. But what I try to do when I'm editing my videos, and I don't edit, that's what I'm saying. I want to do like the least amount of work of like time investment possible. So the way that I do that is by instead of using editing tools, I just go in and use the stuff that I already know how to work with, which is like Microsoft Word from a million years ago, because they never really change it much. They just add a bunch of extra crap that then you have to learn about. So I just go with what I learned in high school. So that is to like take photos that I have and edit them together in a Word document and then use the snipping tool to because on YouTube videos you cannot upload a picture if it's more than 2 megabytes. And so a lot of times when I take pictures from my phone and then I just try to upload that picture, it'll say, no, you can't do that because it's like too big of a file. So then what I have to do is go in and edit it and try to crop it down so it's like less than 2 megabytes. And what I realized, I don't have to do that. What I can do is like open up the picture on my computer and then just take a screenshot of it or like use the snipping tool to take the screenshot of it. And then it automatically brings it down into a file size that it can handle. Okay. So through those things, that's how I learn how to maximize what I do in my physical life in order to get the most done. And that's what the reading is about, right? It's like what's going on in your physical environment, what's going on with your health and stuff. And so, because I had already started the video that I thought was going to be this reading, I had split the deck in order to shuffle it, and it was on the death card and the 10 of wands. And what that is that death has been showing up at the bottom of the deck in like the last few readings because there is a big transition that we are going through, and it's in the physical world, but nothing appears to be changing. And that is what you need to understand is that you don't need to look so big at the world that you can't change. What you need to do is make sure that you are doing what you can to change your environment that you can access through your physical body, which means your sense of sight, your sense of touch, your sense of taste, your five senses, okay? And everybody that you communicate with, because those are the people that you can create a transition with to change the world that you live in, to just change your physical environment. So what's happening on like a spiritual and energetic level is that things are coming to a very real end. This is not like the 10 of swords, which also represents an ending, but that is it's in a smaller way. It's like that there's something that is changing because you've been obsessing about it in your thoughts, and then finally something kind of happens to shift that environment or those thought patterns or whatever. um so it might be a breakup of things, a breakup from work, a breakup from like people in your environment, or just something, starting a new habit so that you can eliminate an old one. But what this is that there is like a major arcana, which means like the most powerful cards in the deck that give us a grander meaning. So it's like a complete death of old things. The death card, I don't like that people will say this, that like I don't like tarot cards because like I'm just afraid of getting the death card. I'm like, do you think that's because it means that you're going to die? You already know that you're going to die, do you not? Like it's very I don't know anybody who like hasn't died in the past or isn't going to die in the future. So you should be happy when the death card comes up because it doesn't mean your death. It means the death of something that's not working for you, an old world that is not working for you. And what that is this 10 of wands. It's like where there's this obstruction of creativity because there's too many things that are building up inside of you so that nothing can be released. Nothing can. Okay. So that's where we're at in your physical environment. So be grateful for it and learn detachment from your fear about it. Because no matter how much you're afraid of something, it doesn't change the fact that you have to go through a daily life. Okay. You still have to go through it. And I think sometimes we like forget that. We forget that because we think that vacation is what's going to change us. It's like, guess what? If you're going into your vacation with the same energy that you go into your workday with, hold on now, I just shuffled it a couple of times and it split on the exact same thing. All right. So I'm going to make sure that those cards do not like split again like that or come up like that. All right. Um, I just saw it split again. The Ten of Wands was at the bottom of the deck because that's just how it shuffled, but it was the Hermit. Oh my God, I keep seeing the Ten of Wands. All right, come on, come on. I need to not put so much effort into this because I'm trying to change the outcomes just so we are getting a different message. It's 5:55 when I was looking at the screen, and that just shows change. Um, okay, this one wanted to flip out and go sideways, sort of. All right, there's this one and these two, and there's one more maybe. I know you can't see what I'm doing, but please don't be so simple about it. One more? It feels like it. It feels like there's one. Oh, okay. Okay, hang on. Because there was a whole bunch of message that came out in that. Oh, and it's, all right, let's take it step by step. Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords is kind of looked at as a negative card of like where there is a thief in your environment, okay? And so perhaps that is why there is a death coming to get you away from whatever is going on, a thief of your thoughts, a thief of your good ideas. So these flipped in the upright when I asked for one more. So let's just see what they are. All right. So the Fool, the Four of Wands, the Nine of Cups, and the Magician. All right. And then we'll look into the other cards that had flipped out. But let me just, the Fool is the first card of the tarot deck. It's the zero. There is like zero has no it has no meaning until it's placed somewhere. Okay. So it's like if you have a one and a zero, that's a 10. If you have a zero and a one, that's a one, right? So zero holds value based on where it is placed and how many zeros there are. Okay. So if it's 0.00001, then it's like very small value. But if it's 100, you get it, then it's a huge amount of value. So the benefit of the fool's journey is that you do not know the value of anything except for the fact of like blind faith, intuition. That's the benefit of like sort of having religious values because you have faith in something beyond yourself. All right. And that's what you need to have right now because there's obviously an ending of something that isn't working for you. And the Four of Wands is about partnership and stability. It's not just partnership, it's about like marriage and foundational support, like legs of a table, but they feature the diamond in this card. And so that tells me that it's like marriage, right? Marriage, or that diamonds are formed from pressure, right? So that you have been becoming a diamond because of the pressure of the things that have been going on around you. And that 10 of Wands, where there's all this creativity that you feel the pressure inside of you that you're meant for something more, but you don't know how to do it. It's like that's the Fool. He's holding what looks like a wand because it's this little walking stick, like how kids used to run away from home with that little like bundle on their shoulder. Um, but there's a Nine of Cups. This is your emotional fulfillment. That's what it's leading to. It's like you go out on this unknown path and you meet something that builds a new foundation with you from the pressure that has been turning you into this diamond. And then you have complete emotional fulfillment. All right. And then you're capable of pure magic. Pure magic. The magician is the one who is here. So there was something about that these were sort of in their sideways. Come on now. All right. There was sort of a feeling of direction that these wanted to fall out in. And it's death and it's Queen of Wands. Okay. And it's a death because the Queen of Wands is bringing in, she is attracting the people who are going to understand her creativity and her creative value. Okay, so there was that. And then there was like some stuff crossing over it, which kind of is like as I'm picking it up, it's sort of in the upside down. But it is temperance and Queen of Cups. So if we're looking at like this is what's happening, but there's still something crossing it where the energy isn't right within you because you're just a human and it's your physical world and you're nervous about things going right. Um, it's that temperance is alchemy, okay? And alchemy takes time, just like formation of a diamond, that is alchemy, right? It's like, is it coal that turns to a diamond? Because they're like both made out of carbon, but you have to compress the carbon. All right. So anyway, it's like that you have to wait for that because if you dig up, if you take coal, is it coal? Yeah. And you put it in the ground and because I used to do this as a kid. I had heard that this is how diamonds are formed. So I was like, all right, cool. I have this little piece of coal and it was just like a little black rock that I found that I thought was coal. And I put it under the ground, but then I put my the picnic table bench over top of it because I'm like, all right, nobody knows that I did this, but people are going to be sitting on top of it. And it's going to create this pressure so that I can have a diamond, right? Well, do you think that that's what happened? Absolutely not. So it takes some understanding more than just the knowledge of something. And my mom used to tell me that there was a coffee plant, right? And it's just like this weed that would grow locally to where we were at, and it kind of looked like coffee grounds. So I would take it and I would put it into water. So this is the thing. I was always a little scientist, and that's why you have to not get in the way of your kids exploring things. So if you're not going to do it with them, give them time and space to be their own little explorers, and then don't make fun of them for the things that they are like scientifically trying to figure out. Because I would put this coffee plant into water. I'm like, when is it going to turn into coffee? It will never turn into coffee because it's not a fucking coffee bean from the equator line. That's actually like a cherry. It grows on a tree. There's, there's, it's called cherry because the coffee bean develops with this fruit around it, and I cascara or something like that. I can't remember it, but I learned more about it when I used to work at Starbucks. And so there's an actual fruit, and then the coffee bean develops inside of that, and then you have to roast it. There's all these things, there's all these processes that me putting this weed into water was never going to make it turn into coffee. So you have to learn how alchemy works, okay? And then this Queen of Cups, it's like the time that it takes to get your emotional fulfillment because you are patient enough to let it be drawn into you, that is alchemy, okay? And so you're working against time right now in a physical world. And so it's really almost just this time of the mind because of what you're perceiving of like it's going to be impossible for this piece of coal to turn into a diamond. What you might find is that somebody comes into your life that is like brings a diamond to you, okay? Because like that's just the way it is. Or they are worth the value of a diamond because that's what they see in you. But you cannot control those things. You cannot, you have to draw that person in based on like being at peace with your emotions, okay? So I'm telling you that right now, you don't believe in it, all right? So because it's sideways, but you understand temperance, you understand that there is time involved in making the things that are valuable, like taking lead and turning it into gold. That's what all alchemists were on the pursuit of, okay? But once you learn the magic, right, from the magician, you can collapse timelines in your physical environment. So also then there was something that came back up in the upright to also then cross over what was crossing you. And it is the Knave of Cups, which is the Page of Cups. It's like a childish um fulfillment. Or it's just somebody, it's somebody with this like they held on to their childish spirit because even though the world will kind of encourage you not to do so, there's something in us that preserves it with inside of us because if you wear your heart on your sleeve and talk to people about what your emotions are, especially if you're a man, right? If you're a man and you talk about the things that you wanted as a little boy or that you still crave in your heart, our world does not allow men to be like that, even though those are the men that we revere the most. It's like soldiers in combat. When you think of the movie Gladiator or 300, these are men that were dedicated to their family, to their queens, right? Whether it be a literal queen or not. It's like these are men who understand what fulfills them emotionally, and because they pursue actions in the security of what matters to them because they are trying to keep their cup full from within, how fulfilled do you feel going into your workday? Like, what is motivating you if you don't have somebody in your environment or a relationship in order to like encourage you to do so? It's that when you feed into your partnership, especially like a woman, when you feed into your man by giving him compliments and telling him how much he means to you on a daily basis, and a man feeding into a woman on a daily basis, you don't stay in partnership just because you committed to it, right? Because it's a relationship and like you committed to it for an unknown period of time, whether no matter what label is on the relationship, okay? But like, especially marriage, I feel like you should never stay in a relationship just because of a commitment. That is not what it's about. You need to choose your partner on a daily basis. You need to let them know that you chose to be with them and you continue to choose them. Because you like live together or you don't, it's whatever, you interact in your daily life. But I think sometimes people rush into the concept of like, we have to share space together, or else how do I know that this relationship is secure? It's almost like when you force yourself to share space together and you don't allow each other to be who you were before you met, which is to like have complete freedom and independence in who you are, because that is what attracted you to your partner. This isn't really meant to be a love reading. This is meant to be like the physical body reading of like what's going on in your physical life, but it's important. You know, this page, he's got a rose tattoo on his neck. And if you don't know, I have a rose tattoo on my neck. And my partner was actually asking me about it because he goes back to look at my videos because you don't know what you're doing in the moment that you're doing it. I started making YouTube videos to break away from a partner that I had gotten a rose tattoo with on my neck. We had these matching rose tattoos. It was because no matter how much I loved him, no matter how much I fed into him, no matter what, he did not believe that I loved him. So it's like, yeah, I was not in a hurry to be in partnership after that because I realized that my life was so disordered. I was trying to create I'm trying to clean up the messes of my past because I wasn't fully fueling my life with the things that mattered to me. So, anyway, what I was doing was my own form of therapy by creating all these YouTube videos back when I did it. Well, there was a shirt that I was wearing in this video, and so my partner showed me like a screenshot of the video that he was watching of me yesterday. And he was asking if like the tattoo on my neck was the same as the tattoo on my shirt. And like the weirdness of that story is that my ex-husband used to have this favorite clothing shop in Nashville. And Nashville is an hour further south of where I drop my kids off to exchange them with my first ex-husband so that he can see them for 10 days around Christmas time. Um, but Nashville is just, it's such a cool place. And I've gone there multiple times. So we were going there just to spend one night there, okay? And to go to this clothing shop and like as a part of our visit. So when we first got there, we knew that the shop closes early. So we went to that place first and I found this shirt. Now it's his favorite clothing shop, but he couldn't, when he was there, he couldn't find anything that like spoke to him that he really wanted. So it was kind of disappointing for him. And I could see the disappointment in him. And even though he lit up when I found the shirt and I tried it on, um, it made him feel a little bit more disappointed because he saw that it it fit with me so well. He was like, that shirt just looks like it belongs to you. You have to get it, right? So, and I had also bought this like sweatshirt, which was almost $200. This place is like a boutique clothing shop. The shirt was like 60 bucks. And yeah, I know that sounds ridiculous, but that's because I know how to be efficient in how I spend money in my regular life. So I don't mind investing in really bougie shit, whether it looks bougie or not. I was telling my friend yesterday, we were on the phone with each other. I'm like, we are bougie hippies, and I'm totally okay with that. I never want to give away my identity because people don't think that it should be like that. It's like if you're a spiritual person, you shouldn't like value money and stuff like that. It's like no, 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 that's not how it works. It's that money's an energy, and if you're a spiritual person, you know how to invest money and what matters and how it ripples out in such a bigger way. So you need to find acceptance for money in your physical realm. So, clearly this is supposed to be a reading about the body, but everything meshes together. So it's just coming out how it's coming out. But I'm telling you that I bought that shirt and I bought the sweatshirt, not knowing, like, I thought the sweatshirt was like 80 bucks, not like 180 bucks. So whatever. So I just go into things and then I accept it as I do just because. So we went to that shop first, and then we went to go and find our hotel. We got to the hotel, and then we decided we wanted to go out to dinner. So I don't even think we got to the hotel. I think we decided on it. Then we went out to dinner, and then as we like pulled up to the restaurant, I was rolling up my window and the window was creeping up very slowly. I'm like, oh my gosh, something's wrong. And we realized quickly the alternator was going out. So all the battery powered things of the car were going out, and my ex-husband was driving. That's why I love, like, really giving honor to the man that you're with at the time. I love the beauty of relationships and how you can empower each other, because then he got to be the one in the driver's seat knowing that he was taking care of me in that moment. And so we decided it's best to get back to the hotel. And he thought to get it into the parking spot and to reverse into the parking spot so that if it had to be dumped or whatever, that it was in the right position. Okay. So you really empower somebody by giving them the opportunity to, like, save you in a moment when, yeah, you might be able to do it by yourself, but it creates like this cohesion within the relationship, even though our relationship didn't work out. So once I found out that the alternator was going out, this was on like Christmas Eve, and there was like a storm along the whole East Coast. And so Nashville does not experience cold weather like this. And so all the vehicles, all the emergency vehicles were like, man, to make a long story short, we were only planning on staying for a night, but we couldn't get back, obviously, because the vehicle wouldn't work. And we had to try to find somebody who could do work on the vehicle in a place that we're not familiar with on Christmas Eve and find a tow truck. Oh my gosh. So all these different things. So what it ended up being is that we had to find a place to stay for 10 days because the vehicle, we found a place for that to get fixed, but we didn't want to take it back to New York and then have to drive back down to Bowling Green, Kentucky, which was where we actually meet to pick up the kids. Um, because something else could happen negatively along the way. So it's like, all right, the negative thing about this was that I had to invest like $4,000 in this trip instead of it being like $1,000 in the trip for like gas and whatever. Um, and so it was tough, but it wasn't. It was like we just went with it. We detached from our feelings of it and enjoyed the moment. And because we didn't have our van for a couple of days, we could only walk around in the area close to us. So we kept walking by Starbucks, which is one of our favorite places to go. So we would like create this new routine based on where we were at. And we walked around to find like what was around us. So there happened to be a traditional tattoo parlor, which is what my ex-husband really liked. And I knew of those style of tattoos, but I didn't really understand the history of them or what they all involved. So I have always loved tattoos, but I didn't really have a motivation on what my next tattoo was to get. But because he was into traditional tattoos, he wanted us to get matching tattoos on our hand of each other's names. And so we did that at the time. And then it inspired a whole section of traditional tattoos that I have now because of him. And like the cool shirt that I had on in the video. But the video, it's got a rose right here. And I bought the shirt before I got the tattoo. And then because all the expenses with my van, I went back and returned the sweatshirt once I realized, like, okay, I could use $200 in a more efficient way, but I still held on to the shirt. And then when we were walking by this tattoo parlor, we were like, we didn't know if anything was open because it was Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and the day after. And a lot of things were not working the way that they were supposed to. So we were going through all these little difficulties together, but we were doing it together. So what it showed us is that, yeah, we had the capacity to really work well together when it's in the physical environment. But when you have too much time to think about it and you combine in old trauma, it helps to really destroy the beauty of relationships because your mind works against you in these ways. So, anyway, we found out that the tattoo shop was open and it's called Dead Ahead Tattoo in Nashville. I so highly recommend that place. Matt was our tattoo artist, and the only reason we got in for an appointment was because somebody had canceled their full day appointment for that day. So it gave us room and time for both of us to get a tattoo that day, but he had been looking through all these tattoos that he had wanted, and he'll just think and think and think about it and figure out try like what should we get. So we really like roses, and I had always like seen in my mind that he would look great with a neck tattoo. And so somehow we whittled it down to say like, hey, we should get roses on our neck, right? So that is how that happened, and I honor him for that because I love the tattoo. It represents him, but it represents a really great time that we had together. And then when you move on from those relationships, you experience the heartbreak, you experience the mental anguish of like, what could I have done differently, better, blah, 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 blah. Eventually, you have to detach from those things and realize you did just fine. You did what you did in the moment because these are people that you grow with and that you honor the concept of detachment with. And each person goes through it at a different pace. But if you look at the video, like my earlier videos from my channel, there was like three videos that I did with like the t-shirt on and the rose tattoo, and they look like they match. And so it was so interesting that it was even aligned on the same side. And so sometimes we are projecting stuff into our future without knowing it based on what we're doing in the present moment. So that is the beauty and the big story about what is being shown in these cards as it pertains to my life, and where I'm at right now, and how I can now honor and respect and have gratitude for what happened in my past, even though it was like a traumatic relationship experience that we were only there because like I had been through a traumatic divorce and all these different things. But you can overlay those things with all the new beauty of the future once you learn to accept them. Okay. So I'm going to leave that reading off at that. So, just understand that there is like, don't worry about the thief in your environment. That is what created the movement for you to access your magician and to work with other people, right? So I like looking at the first three cards in the deck. Um, because I think that they give an underlying meaning, whereas this is like the overarching theme was that you feel like you've had people take from things, and that may have hurt your physical health, right? A lot of your physical health problems are coming from your mental and emotional problems. So what you're going to see is that this is going to be all cut out by death, right? Of like something else. And you're going to work together so that you can unblock these creative passions that had been stuck within you. And so you're just perfectly in alignment. All right. So have peace with it. I love you. I hope you really gain some insight with these readings because now I accept them. I accept them as a part of who I am and what I enjoy doing. And like, even if I don't make money off of this, right? This is like a half hour of my time. Um, and in terms of finances, if I were giving somebody a half hour reading, it would be something like $100. Okay. So I am giving you $100 worth of my time because I still believe that it's valuable, even if I'm not having that reciprocated right now. I am investing $100 into myself because it is going to bear fruit in the future. Okay. I love you. Have a great day. Bye.